You're listening to the Luxe Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Luxe Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner. Welcome to Luxe Life Discovered. My guest today is Angela Kramer. So, Angela, nice to have you.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, good. Angela is the wedding and events manager for Hilton Sandestin Beach Golf
Resort and Spa.
I know, always
it's a mouthful.
Yeah, get them in the wrong order.
Yeah.
So, thank you for taking the time. You guys stay busy.
We do. And this has been a record January for us.
Has it really?
Yes.
With bookings or
yes,
events? Or
because, our bread and butter obviously is group corporations, associations, right? So we're a conference hotel. So we host a lot of those. And so we had a couple really big groups in this month, which January is usually a slower time for us. But we got that group in, we got a couple other groups in, but then my side of it is the weddings and special events and host a lot of those as well. My season starts to ramp up within the next month or so with charities and galas and stuff like that. And then we kind of die down a little bit for more associations in our summertime, and then we move up into wedding season, which is more in the fall.
Okay, so you brought up a good point, your conference or convention space, conference areas.
Yep.
You have probably one of the better selections of meeting spaces, convention spaces in the Gulf.
Yes, we have 40,000 square feet of event space, indoor event space, and then we have another roughly a little over 22,000 outdoor space, square feet of outdoor space to utilize. So between the two, we can host all kinds of events, conventions, weddings, special events, birthday parties. We host anything for weddings as well, from anywhere from 2 to 5, 10 people, 20 people, up to 500. So it's quite a large space to utilize, and it's very easily to accommodate a lot of different events because our space is so flexible. And anything we host outdoors, we do have indoor backup space included in that. So a lot of places don't have the ability to do indoor and outdoor. If you have something outdoor, they're always afraid of weather. So we do have that. That's part of one of our standards. We have to have indoor space.
And then you also have the hotel where people can just stay on site.
Yes, we
How
have.
Convenient.
Yeah, I know. We have 590 rooms, sleeping rooms to accommodate, and we just finished this past year our $35 million renovation. So all of the sleeping rooms are fully renovated, and then we added some enhancements to our lounge area. We added our pizza bar, just refreshed the whole lounge and the look of it, and it's beautiful. And right now we're actually finishing the final part of our renovation is our indoor pool. That's being done now. It should be done by the end of February, and so it's going to be great.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, good. Yep. So it'll be finished before my event.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Wow, that has to be a big undertaking to even get to it, access it, and I can't imagine all the details and logistics that had to go into play.
Our director of engineering, Leonard, does a great job in organizing and kind of keeping the lockdown on that. We've had a little bit of one of our decks is a little bit out of commission just because it's the walkway to get in and out with the materials and stuff like that, but it's going smoothly, so we're excited about it.
Good. That's good when you can say that rather than talking about it like this has been
it's going smoothly. Yes.
Good. So how many events like in the conference area have you had at one time?
Oh gosh, we have 3 large ballroom spaces upstairs, and then we have 4 meeting spaces downstairs. We've had all of them going at one time, so that could be upwards of 3 to 4 different groups in house. But our events team does a great job of working together and making sure that, we're timing things correctly, so there's not like a massive,
everybody's
in the foyer and leaving at one time and all those kinds of things. So we can have the whole the whole place rocking at one time, but
Wow.
it's a well-oiled machine at this
Well,
point. So
are people surprised when they come to your property and see what you have?
I think they are, just because it's not what you expect when you just look at it online. We always encourage people to do site visits and come see the property for any event, just because the magnitude of what we can do is pretty great. And then of course the resort itself. So there's so much to do on property and on the Sandestin resort period. So even if you went over to the Bayside, there's dining and shopping and stuff like that to do. So it's quite a all-inclusive kind of thing without like the all-inclusive.
Right.
Yes, yes.
And you are right there on the Gulf.
Right there on the Gulf, beachfront. Yes, yes.
Beautiful beachfront right there, so to enjoy.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are some of the larger or conferences that you've had there recently on that part of it? Anything you can mention?
We just had, and I'm gonna screw this up because I'm not really involved in that very much, but I believe it was Ream we just had in-house. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I mean, we host a lot of different ones throughout the year, a lot of large associations and group convention business. Yeah.
Well, good. So like you said, your area of expertise is the wedding and special events. So what are some special events? What is that area?
So we host a variety of different special events. We do a lot of local charity events. We're very active in the community. We have upcoming, we have the Habitat for Humanity Hard Hats and High Heels event. We've hosted that the last 3 years. Then after that, we have a Crescendo event. And then we also have Children's Advocacy Center Gala. We have that as well. And then, gosh, there's so many. I'm trying to keep them all straight. We host the Caring and Sharing Fashion Show, the fall and the spring fashion show. So a variety of different local charity events, but it doesn't stop there. Like if we do get inquiries for like birthday parties or anniversary parties or anything like that. I mean, again, our space is so flexible and versatile that you can host really anything that anyone's looking for. It's just a matter of fine-tuning the details and people's budgets.
And like you said, you can do small events, but so it doesn't have to be like a mass,
No.
large number.
Yeah.
You've got to
Absolutely.
switch it small, but if it is a large number, you can take care of that
absolutely. I've hosted birthday parties of like 20 to 30, and then I've hosted, these cultural weddings of upwards of 500. So
as well. Right, that's what I want to talk about.
yes,
Those are fun. So tell us about, I know I was touring the property one time, and you were getting ready for a large wedding that they were using the largest ballroom. And
that was one of our cultural weddings.
Yeah, and then they were going to use the deck, and they were out. The floors were, beginning to work and everything out there, and such a nice transition too from the inside outside.
It's quite an undertaking for sure, but we're really trying to tap into that market because we can host such large groups, and those cultural weddings are going to be large in nature. The smallest one we've had has been 250.
Wow.
And just because, again, our space is so versatile, you can do the indoor, outdoor, and you don't have to worry about the weather. And with us being able to be that flexible, we can work with the vendors as well, because your decor people for those types of events need a longer setup time.
Right.
And so being able to give them access to that space early enough to get everything set is vital for them.
It is a major production.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And because they're always so colorful and
Yes.
such tradition and everything that goes with that.
I really love the tradition that's involved in those weddings, like the different ceremonies that they have, and the family and the culture that's involved in that is really beautiful to see.
Right, and it's over a period of days. It's not just like a one-day event.
Typically 3 to 4 days.
Yes. We, I did one in Arkansas one time, and of course the vending party, I learned so much during that time.
Absolutely.
The family was so great to work with, but just fun to just be a part of
Yeah.
it, and
And they party.
They
They
have
do.
fun.
They have a good time. Some of their events that they posted out on the deck, when they get their music going and the
Yes.
DJs going, they really just celebrate. And that's the beautiful part of it. They're just celebrating their family and this bind between the two, and it's just really beautiful to see.
And they have guests that come from all over the world. It's not just local or from the like if they're from Atlanta,
Yeah.
for example. Like they come from all over. That's a big event for them.
Yeah, the
So,
last one we had, we actually had some of the family members that were traveling from India and Southeast
really?
Asia.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. So when you see something like that as your position, I know when it's over, there's excitement. There's also a huge relief because it's like
it's a long 4 days.
It is, but to see it all go smoothly and to see what's created by so many talented vendors, isn't it just? I mean, that's
it's
just icing on the
awesome to
cake,
see it all come together, but that's really a testament to the vendors that we work with. We make sure that we're building relationships with quality vendors that have experience and know what they're doing. So it makes my job a little bit easier.
And
But
that does.
yes, but it's also a testament to our staff. I can't say enough great things about our banquet staff, our banquet managers, just the whole team on the catering side, even to the kitchen, because we do have to coordinate with their caterers because we do a lot outside catering for that because it's a lot of traditional food.
Exactly, yeah.
So we getting our chef in touch with their caterer and them working hand in hand and allowing the kitchen access and all that kind of stuff, as well as communicating with our banquet staff about what each item is and making sure it's labeled and all those things. Like it's really amazing to see how great it all comes together once it does, because it's just it makes you really happy because it's a lot of hard work in the beginning to get all the details finalized, and then the day of it's go time, and then when everyone shows up and they do their job and they're just so great and they're hardworking. I can't say enough about how hardworking our team is.
Well, you're one of the few places that would allow that to even be a possibility for the outside catering to come in.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And is time ever an issue, like schedule? Because I know with mine, I'm just going to speak from my experience. I know with mine, she married a local guy, and as she told me, she said, "I'm marrying a meat and potato guy." And so we had, as they said, our Caucasian food and our Indian food, and our food was ready one night at 6 for dinner, and their chefs arrived like 8:30 and so had 30 minutes of preparation.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, tomorrow night, the meal starts at 7.
Yeah, we need to be ready at 7.
They laughed, and she said, "This is your first Indian wedding." But they were super nice. And after that, you just go with the flow. And, but it is, I loved every minute of it because I learned so much about their culture and just to see all the colors and the fanfare and everything that goes with it is just interesting. Yeah.
Time really doesn't ever. Well, I will say this: if you have a great wedding planner, a cultural wedding planner that understands the ins and outs of all of the different events, that is vital. Yeah. And if she's a good one, she packs in additional time to where there was one time I was questioning her because her timeline versus what I had, I was like, well, you said this time, but we're in this time. She's like, oh, I pack in at least 20 minutes. Just in case if there's
smart,
like some.
So it's not a first rodeo.
No.
That was my first rodeo
yes,
in that case.
yes. So
I learned a lot. And that's when you have to be flexible and just kind of like swallow your pride. And like it's not on the time scale. But it's okay.
I mean, there'll be times that things are delayed here and there, but it's never been anything drastic. Yeah. Again, it goes with working with great vendors that are very knowledgeable about what they're doing. And, our team is very flexible as well. You have to be in this business.
Sure.
Catering and special events, you can put a timeline together and think that's what's going to happen. But lo and behold, you kind of just have to go with the flow because the timeline may not actually go exactly how you wanted it to. But that's just the name of the game, being flexible.
Whole key is you want your client happy.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes for me, I'm OCD a little bit on time frame, and so that's one thing I've learned. I just have to be flexible. I always want a plan B. And sometimes we've had to go to a plan C or D that didn't exist.
You made one up on the spot, but that's just a good planner and a good catering manager.
If you told me that a week before the event, I would have probably just run away. It's like, no, that's not a possibility.
Yes, yes.
So, and you have to.
That's
just part of it.
Absolutely.
So how many weddings do you do a year?
We typically average anywhere from 30 to about 60.
Okay.
We're more on the 30 in these days, as I'm trying to really hone in on larger weddings.
Right.
I'm getting fewer and fewer weekends to work with because our group convention business is growing so much. So I have to
Which is
find,
good and bad.
it is
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good, it's great. We love that. But it makes my job a little bit more difficult because I have to find those pockets where I can fit a wedding in. So it's more advantageous for me to find those larger ones to
Right.
fill that spot. So we're not having to find so many different weekends to work with the smaller ones.
So how do you attract that segment?
Honestly, that's testament to our marketing department.
Yeah.
They do a great job. Maggie Weaver is amazing at really pushing weddings and working with our ad agency and getting us the materials that we need, going to bridal shows so we're present, and just really marketing our drive market really big. And then we're trying to build into the Chicago area because we do get a lot of Chicago business as well. So just really trying to focus on those markets and be present, go to the bridal shows in those areas, and really word of mouth too. When you have a client, just asking them for reviews and
Right.
asking them to like
That's your
recommendation.
yeah.
That's the biggest one for me, would be word of mouth.
Right.
Hmm.
So you mentioned Chicago's a large area of interest from what other major cities?
Well, our drive market, mainly Atlanta. We are getting a lot from Tennessee as well. We try to market over there. And then Louisiana, Alabama, all of Georgia. Those are our main ones that we see a lot of business come
Yeah.
from. But I'm also getting a lot more local brides this year. So I'm
Oh,
excited
you
about
really?
that.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, it's like sometimes local is the last to know. What we were talking about earlier, because once I came to your property, I was just like amazed. It's like this is here, and
Yeah.
how did we not know about that?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
did I not know about this? And I think a lot of times local is the same way because there are things that like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Most locals don't go to it, but we reserved it for an event one time, and I was amazed that so many people had never been there that lived there.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like what's in our backyard. Sometimes we kind of forget or just don't think about it because we're too busy living life. It's like going to the beach. I found when you live here,
You don't go to the beach.
Who's time to go to the beach?
I don't go to the beach. I should, but I don't. It's so sad. But yeah, I think it's also because locals, they know the Hilton's there, but they don't know the magnitude of events that we can do there. And that just takes that, marketing it well and really getting involved in the community and really, the local weddings that we do have, just really blowing it out of the water for them and asking for those reviews and those recommendations. And that's honestly where I've been getting more of them from. It's like, oh, my friend's sister got married there, and it's that's where you get that repeat business.
Sure. And once they're there and experience it for themselves, and see how smoothly it goes. It's like, okay, it just takes a lot of pressure off of them.
Well, and a lot of people have a misconception about destination weddings, especially like on the beach or anything like that. They think it's kind of out of their budget, and we work with anyone's budget. You have a small budget, you have a large budget. We're going to do our best to work with you to what fits your budget. We still have to hold ourselves to a level of standard of service. So the pricing still has to be where we can make sure that standard of service is there. But a lot of people just think that, oh, this resort venue is going to be too pricey outside of my budget. But
if you don't ask, you don't know.
You have to ask because we will work with anyone.
Well, that's good. And that is a good point because a lot of people just assume sometimes that that's not the case.
Yeah.
And
or they hear the word resort and they just assume that it's a very pricey venue. And there's ways to work within everyone's budget. We just have to talk about it and work through that and see what their main needs are. They may be thinking, you get these brides that they never planned a wedding before. They don't know. And so when you start talking with them through what their main needs are and what they're actually needing and what they're wanting, you can kind of remove things that they're like, oh, I wanted to do this. Well, what's most important to you?
Yeah.
And that's where you can kind of shave off some of that and really fit within their budget.
Do you require every bride to have a planner?
We do.
Okay.
We do require every bride to have a wedding planner at minimum day of coordination. And that's solely because myself and Megan, my counterpart, we also will be hosting other events. And so if we are having multiple events in that day, we want to make sure there's someone dedicated to that wedding, and basically their right-hand person. I mean, we will still be on property and we still are available in there, but if for some reason we get called to a different event to assist with something, we want to make sure that they're... Yes, we want to make sure that there's somebody focusing on that bride.
Yeah.
And again, we have great vendors that we work with in the area. We have a very extensive vendor list, and we've worked with all of them for many years. And so we trust them, and they know our standards of service, and they know what we require. And so I am never worried whenever they have that someone's booked for that, because they take care of it all, and we just kind of are the person that's, if you need anything, let us know.
Right.
But
as a planner, I understand that greatly, because there's certain vendors that once I know that they're booked, I don't have to worry about that part of it again. And if something did go wrong, I'd be like shocked. And but so it just makes my life easier. When I work with new vendors, and nothing against it, but you know what I'm saying. It's like then you have to go through your checklist. Then you're it just adds a little bit of anxiety to it. But when you've got reputable vendors and do a great job, and not only that, they're going to pitch in with everybody else too. And that makes a huge difference.
Well, and it's just building those relationships with people in the community. These vendors, they work very hard as well, and we're also helping promote them too, and they're promoting us. So just nurturing that relationship. They're very hardworking, and they know what they're doing, and so you just have to let the professional do the job, and then we're just kind of there to assist. But it's great when they know our property and they know, again, our standards, and so they know what they can and cannot do. And every property is like that, but it's great to have ones that have been on the property for a long time.
They know what will work if a client suggests something,
or if they ask for something. That's they can also be our helper on that if there's something that's kind of now granted there's not a lot outside of the box that we can't do, but we try to be reasonable for
That's
sure.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good. So how long have you been with the property?
I've been there for 8 years. This will be I'm going on 9.
Wow.
Yes, 8 years.
That's a long stretch in this business.
It is. It's been I've learned a lot, and again, my favorite time is when the event's actually coming to fruition. There's a lot of work put into it, booking the business, working with the budget, getting the contracts, all of that stuff. That's not my favorite part, but the day of the events, seeing the happy families, the happy couples, that's what really drives me to continue in it.
And then when you see the planners and the vendors bring that vision to life, because that with the cultural weddings, that's not that the others aren't beautiful, but
absolutely.
That's just like the floors that were working outside on that on the terrace that day. I wish I could have seen that when it was finished, because just seeing what they had started on.
I'll have to show you some photos.
See their vision and how it came to life. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. With those weddings, they meet with their decor team and they map out ideas, and you see it on paper. And when I'm working with them and they tell me about it and we talk about it, you try to envision it, but until it actually happens, you don't know. And that's even with some of our regular American weddings as well. You talk to a bride and you're working with them at least 6 months to a year out, and you're hearing all of their ideas and what they want to do with their florals and decor, and you talk to the vendors and they tell you about it, and then you plan for it, but then when it actually happens, you're like, it's all coming to light, and it's beautiful.
That's a good point, because that's where, like, for me, the enjoyment as a planner comes in, because I like the planning part, but I like to see the reality. Also.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, sometimes you've got a client that wants something different, and it's just not going to work. And trying to work with that client and get them to understand. And then when they finally realize, okay, that's not good, this might be better. So, you've got to compromise. And
it's all about managing expectations, really. Whenever every property is different, the Hotel Effie or the Henderson or the Sandestin Resort, they have different venues to offer. And so when I get a bride, for instance, sometimes you'll get brides that don't want to be on the beach and they want to be on a green space or up on the deck. And we can offer deck ceremonies, and it's sometimes limited just due to business of the hotel. It's not great to host a deck ceremony in the middle of July because the hotel is quite busy. But
it's hot.
Yeah, and so it's just having those conversations up front. I always tell my brides, and my job is to make sure that you understand everything before you sign the dotted line, because my goal is to make your expectations a reality, and I'm not going to sell you a false expectation because that's going to set everyone else up for failure. So
that's true.
Yeah. So it's just managing those expectations.
You have to spend the next period of time before the wedding trying to defuse.
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, good deal. Well, I know that I am hosting my bridal show at your property.
Yes, we're very excited.
March 16th. And so very excited to work with you on that, and have been working with you on that. So very excited about that, and a lot of good things that are being planned. So I'm excited to move it there.
Yeah, we're very excited to have it. All of the vendors I've spoke to already that have signed up are very excited to showcase. We're very excited to showcase the hotel. I remember I had seen the flyer from last year when you did it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so fun to host. And then so we're very excited to have that. I've already had some meetings with my director of events, just kind of talking about little things that we could do as a hotel to welcome these brides in, and really show them the property, and give the vendors the best opportunity to showcase what they can provide.
I'll talk to you about some other things too, but I've had a couple of ideas that I'm going to run by you too. And maybe we make it like a weekend where people come in and so do something like that.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
I've been wanting to do that.
Stay tuned for that. So if people wanted to reach out to you about touring the property, hosting an event or a wedding there, what is this the best way to reach you? Your email?
Email would probably be best, but you're welcome to call. My phone number is 850-267-9604. That's my direct line, or just calling the hotel directly. They can get in contact with me. And then we also have an RFP link on our website. So if you wanted to fill out an RFP to get some wedding information and then reach out that way, we'll reach back out to you with all of our wedding information. Then we can set up any time site visit with you.
And when you reach out to Angela, you're going to get a quick response. You're always responding promptly, so that's always impressive. But also, you have to tour the property to see what all they have to offer, because as a planner, I was thoroughly impressed and surprised because I didn't know we had that much meeting space right here in the area.
Yes,
so,
absolutely. Yes, myself or Megan, who's my counterpart, can reply immediately. We get those emails. I'm always checking my email when I'm not even in the office, so we will respond within 24 to 48 hours. Yes. Yes, unfortunately, my boss tells me all the time, when you leave work, you need to leave work, but it's hard. Yes, absolutely.
What if that important phone call comes in that you would have missed?
Absolutely. Or at least just send a quick message, like, I got your message, I'll get back with you when I get in the office. That's always helpful.
20 other times before then. Well, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Quick.
I know. I was like, wait, didn't we just start?
I know. It's hard to believe time is up.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us for another episode of Luxe Life Discovered. We will see you soon.
Check out Luxe Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram, and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Luxe Life Discovered.